filled in my brows, as you can see. I don't know if people experience this, but I have. Like, there's some like points in your life where you feel like nothing is going right, but nothing is going wrong. I don't necessarily know how to explain. I don't even know what you call that. I just know that there's sometimes it could be out of nowhere, and I just start like overthinking, thinking that something is gonna go wrong, that something happened that I don't know about. It's weird as shit. But I also feel like I'm not the only person that feel that way. I feel like other people do feel that way too, but they just get over it, because I just get over it. I would say like your emotions get the best of you, and you just start like thinking crazy, like having weird thoughts about things, and you know, stuff like that. And I literally just be thinking like, yo, am I tripping, or is something wrong with me? Like, everything would be fine. I have money, I'm good, I ain't got no worries, but I start crying. Like, what the excuse my language, what the fuck? I don't know exactly how to like explain it, I should say, because it's so weird. But maybe I would just wake up and start crying, like, and I would not know what is wrong, like, and like really sobbing, like, yo, it's crazy. And I'd be sitting there thinking like, yo, you are crazy. But to my mind, I'm not, because I'm crying for a reason, but I just don't know what that reason is. I'm not sad. I'm happy. Literally, I'm happy and I'm crying. I've been reading a lot about like energies and spirits and stuff, and sometimes we have like unresolved trauma in our lives that we don't know about, and we walk around with them. And at the weirdest times, weirdest moments, they would just take over. Like, that energy would just come. It's from like past traumas that we actually didn't emotionally process the way we should have. Alright, let me give you an example. I have a friend, she's into this you know, yoga and spiritual healing and energy work and all of this stuff. And I remember one time, like, I was really, like, my anxiety was really bad. I was really like in a bad like mental space. So she told me to go home and meditate. And I'm like, I don't know anything about meditating. Like, I've never meditated before. I've heard the term meditate, but I've never really like looked into meditating. So she basically explained to me like, yo, just turn off your TV, you know, cancel all noise that, you know, distracting noise that's around you. Sit down, you know, the little pose that they do, cross their legs or whatever, and just relax and see where your mind takes you. That's what she said to me. And I was like, alright, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna do it. And I got home and I did it. And literally within, it had to be like maybe 10-20 minutes into the damn meditation session, my, you know, DIY, do-it-yourself meditation session, I started crying. And I knew what I was crying about, and I felt everything like the day it happened. Okay, when I was growing up, when I was growing up, there was this little girl on my block. Well, she didn't live on my block. She lived on the block over from my block. But we all knew each other because we went to the same school. And this one day, it was garbage day, and the garbage truck was like, you know, going around in the streets picking up garbage. And she happened to be in the street at the same time on her bicycle, and she was on the same side that the truck was on. I guess the driver wasn't paying attention, and mind you, at this time I had to be like 11 or 12 years old. But anyway, she was on the same side that the truck was on. Um, I guess she hesitated and fell off her bike. Like, but okay, this was the street, and this was like the grassy area. You know what I'm saying? And she fell off the bike on like in the street. Like fell. Yeah, she fell in the street off the bike, and the truck was coming on that same side. And the driver wasn't paying attention. She was screaming. The truck was very loud. Um, she was a few years younger than I was. She had to be about maybe 8 or 9. But I knew her dad. I knew her family basically. I knew her mom. I knew her dad. I knew her sisters. Like we were familiar. We weren't friends, but we were familiar with each other. And she fell into the street, and the driver of the truck ran over her head. Like she was dead upon as soon as he ran over her head, she was dead. And like everybody heard it. Like everybody heard her head pop. Like everybody that was in the street at that time, I mean, there wasn't a lot of people outside, but everyone that was in the street at that time or in the vicinity of that area heard her head pop. Like literally. It was like I can't even explain the sound, but I seen people, like the trucks immediately stopped. Like I guess he figured he ran over something. He got out the truck and like, you know, ran around the other side to see, because he was on the right side, and she got ran over on the left side. So he immediately got out the truck and tried to see, like, you know, what did he run over. I guess when he got around there, he saw the bicycle and saw the, you know, the body. He knew what it was. Me being 11 or 12, I can't remember my exact age. I had to be like in between ages because my birthday's like the end of the year. But anyway, me being 11 or 12, I didn't think to cry. I knew her, but I didn't even think that it affected me emotionally. Like, I didn't, what was the word I'm looking for? I didn't connect emotion to it, I should say. But I just knew her. And that was my connection to her. I just knew her. I saw her every day when I went to school. Yeah, I saw her every day when I went to school. She was a familiar face. And then all of a sudden that familiar face was gone. I remember her dad, someone notifying her dad that that happened. Like, this is Guyana. They don't move bodies right away. Ain't no ambulance coming to get you within 5 minutes or 10 minutes or none of that. Like, the residents in the area start doing their thing before the ambulance arrived. So she was laying there for a good minute. And the truck couldn't move because if, you know, he messed up the crime scene, whatever. So the truck was there. She was laying there. Somebody notified her dad that, you know, she was dead. He ran over. I remember I didn't go over to the area, but where it happened, my house was like on the opposite side of the street, on the other side of the street, like 2 houses down. That was my house. And I was standing in my front yard, and I was just watching. Like, I didn't go over to see how she looked or how the area looked. None of that. I just stayed in my front yard and I was just watching. And I didn't feel like it bothered me at all. I just knew that familiar face, I wasn't going to see it again, and she was dead. And then I heard everybody talking about it. You know, black folks talk. So yeah. And then, yeah, you know, the family grieved or whatever. Weeks went by, months went by, years went by. And I never thought that it bothered me. Like, because we weren't friends, she was just a familiar face. So I never, like, paid attention to it. Anyway, my meditation session this day, with, like I said, within 10 to 20 minutes, I started crying. I was actually crying for her. I don't even know how to explain that. It just, as soon as I started meditating, that was the first place my mind went to, which was weird, because I've never thought about her before. I've never thought about the situation before. Yes, I remember the story because I was there, but I've never thought about it before. It's never bothered me before, kind of in that way. So within 10 to 20 minutes of that that meditation session, I thought of that situation, and I started, when I say crying, I mean sobbing, literally. I couldn't even talk. I opened my eyes after the meditation session. Once I started crying, I opened my eyes. I got distracted with with everything that was going on in my head at that time. So my mind took back over as far as control. So I opened my eyes and I just couldn't stop crying. It was how when you throw up, you lose control of your body. It was one of them times, I lost control of my emotions and I started crying, literally sobbing. She was a family member of mine, she was related to me, that was a part of me that was taken away all them years ago. Mind you, I was 27 when this happened. This happened when I witnessed all this happening when I was 11 or 12, like I mentioned, so it's been years. And I didn't know that I was carrying around that trauma with me, that emotional baggage with me. I cried for 15-20 minutes after that. After the session, after the little meditation session, I cried for 15-20 minutes after that. And once I got done crying, I felt a weight just lifted off of my shoulder. I felt a burden, something that was sitting on my shoulders, just alleviated. It's very hard to explain. So I say all that to say that we carry around a lot of trauma with us unknowingly. And these fucking people. And we don't even notice the things that we carry with us. It may not affect you right away, but it does affect you in some way. So that takes me back to my anxiety. I have really bad anxiety. It sucks sometimes. If you deal with anxiety healthily, I feel like you can actually heal yourself. You can heal whatever trauma it is that's unresolved, that you haven't dealt with, that you've pushed aside, shut the door, hide the emotions you don't want to feel. You can actually heal yourself with your anxiety. I feel like anxiety is that thing that keeps reminding you that you need to open up that door and you need to let go of whatever it is that you're holding on to. Because I feel like if I wasn't in that bad place and my anxiety wasn't that bad, and I didn't reach out to my friend that does the energy work and healing and all this stuff, and she told me, oh, you know what, maybe you should meditate, that'll help ease the anxiety that you're feeling, and whatever's causing that anxiety will dissipate or whatever. I feel like the anxiety is that thing that keeps reminding you that you need to deal with whatever it is that's bothering you, or just deal with some internal shit. Because a lot of people, yeah, they want to heal, but they're not willing to do the inside work to heal, if that makes sense, because to heal is there's a lot of inside work you have to do to heal yourself, especially if you've been through some shit, like some real heavy shit, or some, would it be family problems, sometimes we tend to look at things like, oh yeah, that's light, that's nothing. No, if you feel it, it's something, and you pushing it and suppressing it is just going to make it worse. And the more you push and suppress it onto yourself, you're just making yourself sick. Sometimes physically, but more so mentally, more so spiritually, you're making yourself sick. That's like, that, alright, example, that you have a chronic illness, and you need to be taking some sort of medication for it. You need to be dealing with it, handling it, treating it. And you refuse to get the medication. You refuse to handle it the way you're supposed to. You just keep pushing it back. Guess what's going to happen? That sickness is going to take over. That illness is going to take over. So you're just going to continue to get sicker instead of better. You're going to get worse. And I feel like anxiety and trauma and shit like that, it just gets worse. The more you suppress it, the worse it gets. So you have to have like an outlet to let it out. Meditation is one of those outlets. Even talking to someone about it and just having them genuinely listen to you and not input at all. Just listen, unless you ask for their input. Just someone sitting there listening to you and not necessarily agreeing, but understanding or trying to understand where you're coming from. But it has to be genuine, of course. That helps a ton. This is my first time doing one of these videos, and I feel like I'm talking more than I'm doing makeup. I cannot focus on makeup right now. So we're gonna get back on my face. Alright, so my brows are done. I'm gonna move on and do my